The yield curve has flattened some as we've raised short rates. The flattening yield curve mainly reflects higher short-term rates. The yield curve is not currently inverted, and I would say that the current slope is well within its historical range. Now, there is a strong correlation historically between yield curve inversions and recessions, but let me emphasize that correlation is not causation, and I think that there are good reasons to think that the relationship between the slope of the yield curve and the business cycle may have changed. And one reason for that is that long-term interest rates generally embody two factors. One is the expected average value of short rates over, say, 10 years. And the second piece of it is a so-called term premium that often reflects things like inflation risk. Typically, the term premium historically has been positive. So when the yield curve has inverted historically, it meant that short-term rates were well above average expected short rates over the longer run. So with a positive term premium, that's what it means. And typically that means that monetary policy is restrictive, sometimes quite restrictive. And some of those recessions were situations in which the Fed was consciously tightening monetary policy because inflation was high and trying to slow the economy. Well, right now, the term premium is estimated to be quite low, close to zero. And that means that structurally, and this can be true going forward, that the yield curve is likely to be flatter than it's been in the past. And so it could more easily invert if the Fed were to even move to a slightly restrictive policy stance. You could see an inversion with a zero term premium. So I think the fact the term premium is so low and the yield curve is generally flatter is an important factor to consider. Now, I think it's also important to realize that market participants are not expressing heightened concern about the decline of the term premium, and when asked directly about the odds of recession, they see it as low, and I would concur with that judgment.